Caren Kaye was terrified. That's not hype, not a publicity stunt, not a clever spin after the fact. She was genuinely scared, but still stepped in front of the camera wearing a simple white robe that she would later slip off in one of the most unforgettable nude scenes of the 1980s. In 1983's My Tutor, Kaye made the boldest career move of her life, diving, quite literally, into a scene that would define her legacy. This is the story of My Tutor, where scandal met sincerity, and one woman's fear turned into one of the most unforgettable scenes of the 1980s. Let's start with the players. Caren Kaye stars as Terry Green, the titular tutor, a sexy and surprisingly sincere French instructor hired to help a wealthy teen pass his college language exam. That teen is Bobby Crystal, played by Matt Lattanzi, a rising young actor with matinee idol looks who would soon become more famous as Olivia Newton-John's husband. The dad pulling the strings is played by Kevin McCarthy. Yes, the same Kevin McCarthy from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And in the background, you've got Crispin Glover in one of his earliest oddball roles as Bobby's nerdy sidekick. The plot? It's a coming-of-age tale painted in unmistakably 80s brushstrokes. Bobby flunks French, so his uptight father hires a private tutor to help him prep for a retake over the summer. Enter Terry, who's smart, cultured, and way out of Bobby's league, or so it seems. But as the summer heat builds, so does the tension. Their relationship quickly evolves from teacher-student to something more forbidden. Meanwhile, Bobby's buddies drag him through a checklist of teen movie tropes, strip clubs, awkward parties, and failed attempts at losing their virginity. But while the film has its fair share of raunch, it also takes its central relationship surprisingly seriously. Behind the camera was director George Bowers, best known as an editor for big studio pictures like A League of Their Own and Stand By Me. My Tutor was one of his earliest directing gigs, and you can feel his instinct for pacing and character in the quieter moments. Yes, even in a movie that opens with a full-on striptease. Bowers wanted something more than just another Porky's knockoff. He wanted heart. And believe it or not, it's in there. Caren Kaye's decision to do the film and the nudity wasn't taken lightly. At the time, she was a veteran of the TV circuit with guest spots on The Love Boat, Three's Company, and Taxi. She was known for being funny, sexy, but never explicit. But she saw something in Terry, a woman with agency, confidence, and a genuine affection for her student. Kaye later admitted she was scared to strip down in front of a film crew. It wasn't just about modesty, it was about vulnerability. Yet when the time came, she didn't flinch. She owned the moment. That moment, of course, became infamous. Terry, hat in hand, literally, slowly descending into the pool every teenage boy's dream made celluloid. But Kaye never played it as cheap. She gave the scene grace and a bit of melancholy. This wasn't just titillation. It was a story beat, an emotional turning point. And maybe that's why the scene stuck. Matt Lattanzi, meanwhile, was on his way up. He had just wrapped Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John, and the two were already a couple. His boy-next-door charm made him a solid lead, though he'd never fully break into A-list stardom. He did, however, provide the film with a sense of earnestness. It's hard not to root for Bobby, even when the plot veers into the ridiculous. And speaking of ridiculous, My Tutor doesn't shy away from the absurd. Bobby's friends are walking caricatures. One's obsessed with losing his virginity to an older woman. Another is terrified of girls but fascinated by adult magazines. There's a sequence involving a drag bar, another with a ludicrous stripogram, and a truly bizarre dream montage that feels like a cutscene from Zapped. But through it all, Bowers somehow keeps the film grounded in emotion. Well, as grounded as a teen sex romp can be. Before we continue, a quick shout out to Perfect Fifth. They've got some incredible old school music inspired graphic tees like this VU meter design capturing that perfect analog vibe, Or this melting vinyl sunset, a minimalist ode to the golden era of vinyl. And this Star Strings and Stripes, a rock and roll twist that's perfect for the Patriots. And for Golden Throwback viewers, they're giving you an exclusive 20% off with the code THROWBACK20. Check out the link in the description. Now, back to the video. Behind the scenes, the film was shot quickly and cheaply, reportedly over a few weeks in Los Angeles. It was produced by Crown International Pictures, the same studio that gave us the Pom Pom Girls and the Beach Girls. Their business model was simple: deliver TNA with just enough story to keep audiences watching. But even among their catalog, My Tutor stood out, partly because it didn't treat its characters like complete idiots. Production was no cakewalk. The budget was tight, schedules were hectic, and with a cast of mostly young actors and a veteran like McCarthy, there were some tonal clashes. Crispin Glover, true to form, brought his own flavor of awkward genius to the set. Rumors swirled that his offbeat energy sometimes baffled the crew, but Bowers knew a unique presence when he saw one. Glover would later go on to cult stardom in films like Back to the Future and River's Edge, but his oddball charm started here. The film opened in January 1983, smack in the middle of the teen comedy boom. Critics mostly dismissed it, and major outlets called it predictable and crass. But audiences, they ate it up. On cable and VHS, it became a staple of late-night viewing. If you were a teenager in the mid-'80s with access to a VCR, chances are you knew My Tutor by heart, or at least that pool scene. Cultural legacy? It's more significant than you might think. My Tutor helps cement the trope of the older woman initiates the young man. In teen comedies, it influenced a slew of imitators from Private Lessons to Class. It also gave Caren Kaye her most iconic role, even if it also typecast her. And for George Bowers, it was the beginning of a directing career that would later earn him respect as an editor in much more prestigious projects. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think? Does My Tutor earn its place as a teen sex comedy classic, or is it just another VHS-era curiosity? And what's your favorite underrated coming-of-age film from the 80s? Let's talk in the comments.